Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick. Ben, Grace, Alonso. I'm looking at a monitor and I'm all backwards today. More or less, we have Mankiewicz shout out in this episode, by the way.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's what Mankiewicz told me. I forgot about Eve.
I'm still waiting.
Yeah.
This episode was so great. I think that, first of all, I hope that Ryan Murphy is hiring a lot of women directors to work on his many programs, because this episode I thought had some really interesting things to say about why women had such a hard time in the studio system getting hired as directors, why they are still underrepresented, obviously, in as working filmmakers, and but again, in such a way that it illustrated stuff about the characters. I mean, not just Pauline, who is a composite, but for Joan Crawford, like that whole sequence that they have where Joan is telling her why she's not going to be in her movie.
It's not because you're a woman, it's because you're a nobody.
Because you're nobody, and even that, it's like it's not mean if it's pragmatic.
No, it's true. Yeah, it showed a keen understanding of how the town works. It was savvy.
Her rationale, I think, was totally sound. She's like, I'm not going to give my last chance to someone who's on their first chance. Like, that doesn't make sense. Why would I do that? And even though you feel for Pauline and you want her to get that shot, and I read an interview where they were saying, why did she go, because it's a fictional character, why did she go to Joan and not Bette? And they're like, well, there's a history with Autumn Leaves, so we had decided that maybe she had worked with Joan before, they had this history. So you feel for Pauline, but you also totally understand where Joan's coming from. She's looking for a hit, and she already is getting a sense that, and we see, at the end, that she's not going to be getting the accolade, that nomination that she so craved for Baby Jane. The ending is so good, just the scream. It's all you needed to know, and it's great watching it with my girlfriend who has no idea what's coming. So she's never seen Baby Jane, she's never seen any of it, and she was holding on. She's like, so does she get it? Does she get it? And then just that, and I was like, nah, there you go.
Yeah, Dave did not. When Bette Davis is singing the song on the Andy Williams show, he goes, "What the hell am I looking at?" And I'm like, "This is real. This happened." Like,
totally. Yeah.
When you're done with this, go and put in YouTube Bette Davis, whatever happened to Baby Jane. That song will come up. So, it's a thing that happened.
So what's amazing is that Bette Davis was at that point, what, 55? Something like that, mid-50s, 54. Susan Sarandon is 70?
Yes. Well, Wendy Williams had a really interesting conversation about this. Basically, in these days, you have to cast older to play middle age, because of how actresses age now as opposed to how they aged then.
Because they age now, they don't age now. You mean the aging is so slowed down. Right? And if you look at Bette Davis playing, at Susan Sarandon playing Bette Davis at 54, and she's 16 years older, and she looks 20 years younger. Yeah, I mean it's a remarkable that, but that's not what we're supposed to focus on. But nonetheless, Susan Sarandon is 70, and that is, I think, 70, and that is
something like that.
Yeah, amazing. So to me, the most telling part was, do you know Toby Huss? Is that right? Don't you?
Not personally,
I thought maybe I met him
a fan of his
house,
work.
But yeah, so I think he does look like Sinatra. I think sometimes he looked like a lot like him in certain moments.
Yeah, I would never have thought that one day I would be seeing Artie, the strongest man in the world from The Adventures of Pete and Pete, playing Sinatra, but it totally worked.
But so here's Sinatra acting more petulant and ridiculous and childish than either of the two old broads, right? And of course, nobody said, it's just, hey man, he's just being cool. He flies off to New York, they got to shoot around him, he ruins it. Nobody's gonna yell at him, nobody's not gonna cast him, nobody's not gonna do anything. He's Sinatra.
Yeah, even Bob is just very measured in his responses, where we'd see before he would be like, God damn it, Joan, like God damn it, Bette, and he doesn't fly off the handle. He just takes it from Sinatra. And also, this was great for me to rewatch for Texas.
Did you watch the movie?
I did. I think it's on YouTube actually. It's a shitty quality YouTube. A lot of this stuff also, if you're watching Feud and you really enjoy it, and you're maybe of my generation, so you hadn't seen these movies before, you can find them in bad qualities on YouTube, and it really does give sort of a context for what we're seeing, and you can justify or some of the performances, like was this one stack up? And I think that I don't know the guy that played Sinatra, I hadn't seen him before, but I think he did a really good job, especially
odds are you have seen him before.
Yeah,
he's
probably
he's a working actor, and he's good.
I love the whole thing where Warner tells Aldrich that he's a journeyman, and not an artist, and it's like, That's also kind of, it's not mean if it's pragmatic. I mean, that was maybe mean, but
also was the last part was, do I have
the potential for greatness?
No, yeah, and it's like, I mean, Aldrich is a fascinating filmmaker and certainly an eclectic one. I mean, because yeah, he did make these sort of big Bible epics and these westerns and these war pictures, but then he has this really interesting period in the '60s where he has these sort of actress-centric films. So like Baby Jane and Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte, but then the lesbian classic The Killing of Sister George, and then the Bananas, The Legend of Lila Claire with Kim Novak, and so none of these are movies that you would associate with some guy who came out of like dusty Spurs, explosion cinema.
And then to see, the Dirty Dozen also on there,
right? And
like that's what I think is really interesting for me, because I was really only familiar with his work around the '60s. Those are the movies that I have seen of his, and so then to go back and look at his IMDb and see what else he had done, and rewatching, 4 for Texas, this is a journeyman of a director, and I think that a lot of what I liked about this episode was the harsh truths, and this, and they don't want to dance around and protect anyone's feelings here, and Jack Warner wouldn't have done that. So he says, no, I don't think you have the potential for greatness.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting about the way this episode is structured, it's the notion that this movie's gonna flop and be terrible and no one's gonna buy it, to it becoming a giant hit, and it's still not lifting anybody's boats. Aldrich isn't taken any more seriously. Crawford's not getting offers. Davis is
Betty takes out an ad.
Takes out an ad after Sid Sheinberg censors some 22-year-old, and then does a Perry Mason guest spot. It's like, again, if any of those people were Frank Sinatra, being in a hit would elevate him to a place where everybody was clamoring to work for him. But no, the way that the system is set up, nobody gave a shit.
Yeah, and I think that they're really setting the stage for the desperation that we will see, hopefully in the next episode, with the Oscar race and all the Oscar campaigning. And I think that this was a really good episode to set up that building of the tension.
Do you know how Joan got her back?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
and I can't wait to see.
I know. I told Davis, "Do you want to know?" And then he was.
It's really fun actually watching it with someone who doesn't really know how it pans out. Because my girlfriend was saying things like, "Well, how does?" Because I'm just saying things like to myself, because I'm an annoying person to watch anything with, and I'm like, "Ooh, just wait." Like things like, "Oh, I can't wait." And she's like, "What do you mean? How could she get her back?" And I'm like, "Oh God."
Next week.
But it's again, if you have to choose sides, and I think you do, and it's just become more and more apparent that to me, it's this Bette. It's a no-brainer.
No question.
Right, because again, she's like, yeah, I'll go on the Andy Williams show. I'll sing. I'm gonna have fun with this. I'll throw Baby Jane dolls out of the audience. And you want to say to Joan, come on, man.
Play along.
This will be great for you. Warner, again, more truth. Warner was right. It is your fiduciary responsibility.
You own a piece
to get out there. So by the way,
get out there shaking hands and sucking cocks.
Yeah, right. Well, that might be a little.
TVMA, I love you.
Because the great thing is that you're like, he doesn't mean it literally. Or perhaps, yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe he does. Another Aldrich movie that I forgot about, I had to recheck it, that Longest Yard. Also, really great prison movie. Yeah, really good prison movie.
And a sports movie.
And a good sports movie. And
really something for everyone.
I was gonna say, I love that movie, and I'm not necessarily a fan of either. And I love the Mamacita scenes in this episode because she was completely right and yet totally wrong.
And totally wrong. Right.
I mean, yes, in a just world, yes, there should be totally tons of entertainment geared to and made by women for the massive female portion of the population, but that's not how it.
Although to be not fair to Hollywood or to the industry in general, at least now, while the movies have not quite figured it out yet, television has to a much greater extent. There is television, their entire television series, networks geared to women, many of them with women running the show and directing the show.
I think television has historically, I think, been designed, in that way. But it's like, we're still at a point where if you are a guy who directs a sort of well-regarded Sundance film that maybe doesn't make a ton of money, these studios will hand you the keys to some giant franchise. If you're Colin Trevorrow and you make, Safety Not Guaranteed, okay, you're the Jurassic World guy. And then if you are a woman who does the exact same thing and makes the same kind of movie, has a similar kind of splash.
You're a woman who's never had a hit. So,
exactly. Right. Maybe you can direct some HBO episodes, And I mean, like if you look at the names of women who have like substantial careers behind them who are now like making episodic TV because they can't get a film made. It's shocking. And so yeah, believe me, the industry is no better and maybe worse.
Yeah, and I think Pauline points that out. She says men are rewarded or given movies based on potential. Women need the experience, and she's like, I wrote this picture. I just need the experience, and it's
everybody was right. Everybody was right in each thing they said. You know,
it's true.
Except it doesn't work. But of course, it's because of menstruation, and that's the problem.
It is absolutely periods. Damn it.
I did love that the William Morris scene so mirrors the showdown with the PepsiCo board in Mommy Dearest.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Like
right.
I was waiting for a "Don't fuck with me, fellas," you know, but we got something just as good. I think.
Vulture said that Jessica Lange has seldom. That in the history of television, a "fuck you" has seldom been better delivered.
Oh yeah, I would agree.
She crushed it. Yeah, no question. All right, it's great. It's great.
Yeah.
We got more great stuff to come. What's terrific is that recognizing that really it was just 3 episodes that covered the making of the movie.
Right.
Like, we have 4 episodes to go. The movie's out.
Yeah. So now it's that, and then
Hush,
you know,
right.
I can't wait.
It's because again, this show isn't called Feud, whatever happened to Baby Jane. It's Feud, Bette and Joan, and their story is not remotely over yet.